to my channel. I hope you all are having an absolutely amazing day today, and I cannot wait to bring you all today's video. Today we are doing a collab for St. David's Day with some amazing content creators, April Honey, Marquand Crossing, and Twilight Fairy, and this collab was organized by the amazing Amy Slays. So thank you so much for having me be a part of this collab, and I cannot wait to bring you on today's video. So for this collab, we had to do something St. David's or Welsh themed, and I decided that I was going to use my Happy Home Paradise cafe to make a little bit of a Welsh inspired cafe. Now, I've never been to Wales, but I would love to go one day. But one of the things that I always think of when I think of Wales, or even St. David's Day in this case, is obviously the red dragon on the flag, yellow flowers, soup, tea, and for some reason, books. That is always what comes to mind. So for this build, I decided to make a very cozy and dark academia inspired cafe and soup restaurant build. So we're gonna have a lot of really rich, dark undertones into this cafe. It's gonna feel very warm and cozy, and obviously we're gonna have little cups of tea and soup everywhere. And unfortunately, I did not have a sheep yet on my Happy Home Paradise to make it running it. However, my island somehow knew that this was supposed to be Welsh themed and gave me a sheep villager to hang out in it at the end of it. But yes, you also might be asking yourself, hey Liz, what happened to your face cam? Well, it is currently 8 p.m. at night when I'm recording this voiceover, in a bit of a time crunch. So unfortunately, I don't have my face cam, so it's just gonna be this voiceover. So I'm very sorry. Hopefully, I will have more time this week to make sure that I have my face cam in my future videos. But for this build, I wanted to kind of challenge myself. Typically when I do builds like this, especially cafes, I end up finding one or two items that I really like and recreating the build around it, particularly in chairs and tables. However, for this build, I wanted to use as many different chairs and tables as possible. I wanted it to give it that cozy grandma feels that you would get from like a little reading nook cafe. So I tried to use different tables, different chairs, different couches, all again with that deep, rich brown, some rich greens, like all of the really cozy feels. I also had to use the brick countertop because I thought it was just absolutely adorable. And the antique tables just are a perfect fit. It's something you'd get at like a little garage sale or yard sale that you just add to your little hometown cafe to add a little pizzazz into it. And then, of course, I love the elegant sofa, but if you make it brown instead of gold and keep that little green trimming on it, it kind of gives like a little bit of a grandma vibe, which I'm kind of living for. Mixed in with all of the other furniture items, overall, this gives me such a cozy vibe, and if this was like a real cafe, I would 100% go here for like tea and coffee all the time, especially to go read books. I can picture myself curled up on one of these couches with a good Stephen King novel, just like emerging myself into that world. It just feels very cozy to me, and I absolutely love it. I also added in as many bookshelves as I could. I used the bookshelf wallpaper as an accent wall, as well as these really nice dark bookshelves to kind of line and break up the room so it didn't feel as big, but also to give it the sense that it is supposed to be one of those like little reading cafes. And then as you can see, I'm trying to get as many different items as possible, as many different chairs, different accents, and all different shades of the brown, as well as different styles. I didn't want it to all have the same kind of style, so I tried to mess around with it as much as possible. I kind of made like two different little reading nooks, one surrounded by bookshelves and one with bookshelves on one side. And then as much as I wanted to have a cool, very antique looking lamp, I didn't have any because this was at the beginning of Happy Home Paradise. This is right when they ask you if you want to build a cafe or a restaurant. So I don't really have very many items unlocked for it, but I added a little pop of green with the different trees in there. It's something I always have to do in every single one of my builds. I have to have greenery. I don't know why, I just do. And now you can see I'm looking through all of the food items for some soup. I couldn't find soup, but I found the closest thing to it, which ended up being ramen. I know it's not quite the same, but I don't really have very much for food items unlocked. So I grabbed ramen, and then I'm searching desperately for a teacup. Eventually, I don't find a teacup, I find a coffee cup. But we're just, for the sake of this, we're gonna pretend that it's tea in there. I'm sure they would have enjoyed a cup of coffee too, but in my mind, I'm thinking if you're gonna have a little cafe like this, you're gonna have tea instead of coffee, right? And then I'm searching everywhere for those little TVs that you can hang on the wall that show the menu, only to realize that they are not wall mounted, they're ceiling mounted. So eventually I found one and I was able to customize it. And then I also added these cute little shelves with some coffee cups just to kind of reinforce the idea of it being like a little coffee shop. And then obviously had to customize it to make it a little bit more fitting with the overall theme. But in the end, this is the overall build. I did try to find a sheep villager for working the cafe, but I didn't, so I ended up going with Daisy instead. But I think Happy Home Paradise knew exactly what I wanted because they ended up giving me a sheep villager anyway. But this is the final product of the cafe. It's really warm, it's really cozy, it's cute, and I could picture this being a little cafe in Wales, celebrating St. David's Day with all of the soup and the tea. Unfortunately, I don't have a dragon in there. I couldn't figure out a way to incorporate it, but my game did give me a sheep, so I guess it's a win in that. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!